What's up, family? It's the manhood mentor, Jabar Lance Brown, the 6-foot giant reporting for duty. Hello. And today's lesson, always bet on black, right? I'm not sure if you guys have even heard that saying before, but it's like one of those internal affirmations again that I always kind of preach and reiterate the importance of having. But you always betting on black is the equivalence to you always betting on yourself, right? That's ultimately what we're going to get into, right, in this particular lesson. So I wanted to ask you guys, because I'm not a gambling man, right? Because I hate to lose. I'm a winner at heart. So I always want to put myself in a position where I have the advantage to win. But if you do gamble, right, or if you are a gambling man, right, you have to consider that every day of your life is a gamble, okay? It's not just you playing some game for money. No, you in the game of life, right? And to gamble, by definition, means to take a risk in hopes of gaining an advantage or benefit, to expose yourself to a hazard or risk, or an act of undertaking an uncertain outcome, right? And I know that that's a lot to process, but by now you should realize how I operate. I always like to use definitions so that we all can have the same reference point when, in regards to gaining an understanding. But with that definition, now you can see that you are a gambling man, right? Because you have to take a risk in order to gain an advantage is the equivalent to you being someone of a profession or a career man taking a risk to put yourself in the best position for a promotion, or an entrepreneur taking out a loan to borrow money in order to advance his business in some way, right? Both of those examples are gambles, right? It's a gamble, it's a risk that you have to take in hopes of gaining an advantage in one way, okay? Now, secondarily, right, to expose yourself to a risk or a hazard is considered a gamble as well, right? Every person in the world at some point or another will leave home for something and expose themselves to the hazard or risk of our environmental conditions. That's another example of a gamble, or gambling when exposing yourself to the risk associated with your environment. Now, I grew up in DC, in the hood, you dig? And that's a big gamble. You understand? Hello, that's a major gamble. Growing up in the 80s in Washington, D.C., you dig? And back then, they considered our town the murder capital, and it was considered there for a reason, right? Now, lastly, an act of undertaking an uncertain circumstance or participating in a circumstance that has an uncertain outcome. This is when you decide to travel on a bus or a train or a plane or a skateboard or a pair of skates or a hoverboard, or just plain walking to a destination and you expect to arrive safely, right? This is what you expect when you begin to travel using this mode of transportation heading in this particular direction. Now, in that example, you still have the uncertainty in your outcome of even arriving safely, because humans make mistakes and the potential tragedy can occur at any time within your travels. Now, notice I've said nothing about the lottery or the casino, the two most common associations that people think about when they hear the word gambling. And that's because I have to train your mind to always create a vantage point for yourself. And in the instances of gambling at a casino or the lottery, you don't have the advantage. That's probably why I don't play. You see, I don't indulge in either activity because, as I said, I hate to lose.